What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the REUP Podcast. It's your host, Coach Jack. You know how we like to do it. Talk about things in the past, what's going on in the present, things that can and may occur in the future in this thing we call life and football. Today is all we got. And today is all we need. But I want to talk a lot about finishing the job. All right. And so today's topic is going to be about finish what you start. Right. And a lot of times, especially for those of us that, are struggling, that have, some things that are occurring, within our sport, within our lives that quite frankly make you want to quit. I want to discuss and dive into, what it looks like to make sure we complete the journey, we complete the task, right? And so here's the thing too. We're approaching. We're in. You know, high school is over for a lot of people, or the college semester is over for a lot of people, and it's a lot of times where we dive into complacency and not necessarily finishing the right way. And I'm going to tell you that there's going to come a point in time where if you don't finish the right way, it's going to backfire on you. But if you do finish the way that you're supposed to, if you respond the way that you're supposed to, if you get after it, the things that you want to do secondary, they'll start to increase, and they'll start to, benefit from the things that you did previously, right? Because let's call it what it is, especially for, my football players who are are done with the spring season. Spring football is over, right? The semester is over, right? The things that you want to accomplish, right, in the spring, all that is done. Now the summer is here, right? Once the summer is here, you got an opportunity to either elevate your game and make sure that you put your stamp on it, or you're gonna stay kind of stagnant and then watch everybody else just kind of pass you by. So I think it's really imperative for you as an athlete to make sure that we don't get complacent, right? Because the summer is not a time for us to slack off. Right, and everybody, I know you got a lot of stuff going on in the summer. Everybody want to go to the beach. You want to go hang out with your friends. You want to do all the things that a college student or a person who's going to college. You want to do all things that's fun. I get it, and you should. You should absolutely find the time to make sure that you do all those things. But more importantly, you have stuff that you need to get ready for, right? And you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of everything. So there are a couple things that you need to do, especially, and let's talk first and foremost to your high school guys. You guys that are your high school is over, right? Everything is done. That's a wrap. When you get into college, right? When you're approaching that first summer, you want to make sure that you have a solid foundation, right? So the first thing you want to do, obviously, you want to build, that bond with your teammates, because at the end of the day, everybody does have to do their 111, but everybody also has to do their job and do it well to work as an organized, well-oiled machine, right? And chemistry, team bonding, team chemistry, the things that come up that go along with that, like that's what creates a dominant team, right? Is that team bond and team chemistry. And that really starts for you the day that you step foot on campus, when you decide, hey, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be, right? So you can't sit there and say, oh man, I'm going through the motions right here, or oh man, I'm just gonna go in and do me, because it doesn't necessarily work that way. Do you want to do what you do? Absolutely, you do, no question about it. But you also want to get in with your teammates, and you want to make sure that they love you as a person and can depend on you as a teammate. Because to love and depend on somebody, right? And to be able to say, man, I know when the bullets are flying, when everything is in full chaos mode, that guy has my back. Like, and you can say that about your teammate as well. That's the bond that elevates everybody. right? So you got to make sure that number one, that that's intact and the bond is permanent. The bond is solid and efficient, right? Number two, stay in your playbook. Stay in your playbook. Don't ever get complacent to the fact, and this is for people who are coming into college or even still in college, or you know what I'm saying, like have been in there 2-3 years yet. Stay in your playbook. You are never fully there. Okay, you are never fully there. There's always something that you can learn into. There's always something that you need to elevate, right? Something in the knowledge that you need to seek, and you need to make sure that you're there, right? And then once you make sure that you are there, that you need to be able to help and elevate those around you, right? So that's the reason. That's part of the reason why you got to make sure that you're staying in your playbook, because the guy who's been there for about 2 or 3 years, who finally understands every little nuance that the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator wants, within their system, they could be able to help that new guy that was first day there. Even though they play the same position, they could be able to help them and elevate them, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And you want the entire room to look good. You want the entire room to elevate the entire unit, right? Because if one unit, if one group doesn't look the strongest or whatnot, it does bring down, the overall efficiency of the unit, right? So you got to make sure that as a guy who's been there, you can help that younger guy out and elevate him, because eventually he's going to be the older guy in the room. And it's like a repeated cycle, right? There's always going to be a new guy. There's always going to be an old guy. That old guy has to help that new guy, go along to make sure that the program and that the traditions live on and gets elevated, right? And here's the thing: by no means am I telling you this is all business. It is business. However, especially for my new guys, have fun. Okay, have fun. This is still football. This is still the game that you fell in love with. This is still when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Whenever you decided that this is what you wanted to do, this is still that fun game, right? Are there other elements that go within this game now? Yes, there are, right? But at the core of it, you have to understand, this is why I started playing football, because it was fun, because I did win, because I am a competitor, right? So you have to dive into that and understand that this is still the game that I love. Still having fun, but it's just more fun when I'm winning. It is more fun when I'm the ultimate competitor. It is more fun when I have the guys around me, who are like-minded and think like I do when it comes to, winning. When it comes to winning, right? Because remember, this game is still about winning championships at the end of the day, right? So the transition that you have from being high school to college and being within college right now, you have to make sure that everything you do, you are finishing the job, okay? We cannot go into this thing half-hearted. Cannot go into this thing half lazy. We cannot go into this thing half anything, because half of what you give is all of what you're gonna get out of it, right? If you want to go through, college, half effort, that's on you. That's on you. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to the guys who are just on that edge, who need to have that extra push to make sure they finish. All right. It's important. It's imperative that you finish, because that is what it's about at the end of the day. All right. Remember, champions never let nothing phase them. When in doubt, rise to the occasion. Re-up.